Queen Elizabeth II is dead. Also the first, for what it's worth. They're both dead. Both Elizabeths are dead, which is quite sad. In fact, what are we all doing just sitting around? We should be mourning or something. What do you mean you're just trying to carry out your life as normal and then it won't affect you very much? The Queen is dead. Anyways, here she is. There's a bunch of interesting stuff I want to talk about. Surely this will be a very good video and not me just clicking on random websites that I haven't read as usual. Queen Elizabeth is very old, or was very old. Excuse me. She was very old. Now she is very dead. When she became queen in 1950, or when was it? It was in the 1950s. Winston Churchill was the prime minister. He was born in 1874. When she died just a few days ago, the prime minister was Liz Truss, this lady, who was born in 1975, 101 years later. In fact, her reign spanned 15 prime ministers. That's what it says here. Queen's death's a huge shock to the nation and the world. Was it, though? I mean, she was pretty old. But now that Queen Elizabeth II has died, we need to ask the real questions. Like, what will happen to her corgis? I think she stopped breeding them in 2018 is what I read. Although I think this article says 2015. She stopped breeding them at some point because she didn't want her corgis to outlive her. Does that mean that she wants all of her corgis to be put to death? You know what? They should do it. It would only be right. She leaves behind 4 dogs, 2 corgis, 1 cocker spaniel, and a dorgie, which is a Dachshund Corgi hybrid that the Queen is credited in originating. But I read somewhere else that it was an accident that the dorgie was created, and that one of her corgis just like mated with some Dachshund. Dachshund? Yeah, that's the thing too, is that apparently all of the Queen's corgis descended from the first corgi that Queen Elizabeth received when she was, I think, 18. They all descend from her original corgi. But that would mean that none of her dogs are fixed. I don't know. That would be very frustrating. I would not be able to deal with that. Apparently the dogs were well trained though, so maybe they didn't just... I don't know what the temperament of corgis are, but I would imagine they probably just, like any other dog, just hump everything. Especially if they're not fixed. Creating the abomination Frankenstein monster, the dorgie. Let's move... what will happen to the dogs? I've never even gotten to it. They'll probably just be given to other family members or something. I don't know. The article doesn't even know. Andrew has cocker spaniels, so he might take back the one he gave her. William and Kate also love dogs, so they can have them. Claudia Joseph. That was Claudia Joseph. A quote from Claudia Joseph. Thank you. Great. But on to the next question, which is about currency. This is probably the most important question we're all thinking about. The Queen's face is on a ton of different currencies, several different currencies. You can see a whole bunch here. And not just the UK, the currency of UK, also like Fiji and just other nations that for some reason are ruled by the Queen of England. Well, not the Queen of England, now the King of England, because you know how she died a few days ago. This article talks a little bit about what will happen to all the currencies. I think the summation of it is basically it'll take a few years to switch to a new portrait, because first, of course, the new king has to be, what is it when they... he has to be coronated and then have an official portrait, and then the new dollar has to be designed, or the new pound has to be designed, whatever. And that has to be need to be printing. And even then, once the new currency is printed, the ones with the queen face will still be circulated. So you'll see. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that the currencies with the queen's face on it will just stick around for a very long time, probably. I don't know what the average currency dollar bill sticks around for how many years. And of course, in other countries, it's a little more complicated. Like, I think the Queen's portrait appears on the currency of Canada, on the $20 bill. But there's no, specific legislation about what should happen if the monarch dies. Oh, this is interesting. It talks about way back when the Queen was coronated in 1953, 1954, I don't know. That the British Phils didn't get the Queen's image until 1960, which was 7 years after her coronation. Canada was faster than the UK. Canada bills were updated with a new portrait of the Queen in 1954, which is a year after her coronation. So, wow. Canada was faster than the UK. Who knows what will even happen? At one time, Queen Elizabeth II appeared on at least 33 different currencies, more than any other monarch, an achievement noted by the Guinness World Records. She was on way less when she died because, countries like, India, declared their independence, whatever, didn't want to have the Queen's face on it anymore. And Barbados, right? They just got rid of the Queen like a year ago or whatever. Let's move on to our next article, which is funny. Highlight of my career. Austin chef recounts making ham sandwich for Queen Elizabeth II. Because Queen Elizabeth visited Austin in 1991, and she stayed at a hotel. She stayed at a Four Seasons hotel. She wanted a ham sandwich with no crust, which was the highlight of this chef's career. Elmer Proms, which here he is. That's very fun. I wish I could have made a ham sandwich for the Queen. That's definitely something I'm capable of. The Queen brought her own bread for the chef to use, which is kind of weird. The chef also noted that the Queen traveled with her own tea and scones during a trip, despite the hotel having a pastry chef on staff. I don't know. I would just eat the scones that are there, in my opinion. But I guess you can do what you want when you're the Queen, which we will dive in more to later. But all the weird crap you can do when you're Queen that normal people can't do. But first, we must talk about the Queen's bees. Not queen bees, but the Queen's bees. Not the movie, but the actual animal that was owned by the Queen. Great. You know what? This is a really good video. Ow, my hand's cramping. Ow. So the Queen Elizabeth II owned a bunch of bees, and apparently I don't know if this is common in just in the UK or in a whole bunch of different countries, if it's widespread. But there's a superstition that if the owner of the bees dies, or if there's some other big event in the family, like I think a marriage, you're supposed to tell all of your bees about the event. Otherwise, there will be superstitious activities occurring. Namely, all your bees will die or will abandon their hives or not make honey or some other terrible thing. It's a European tradition where you have to tell your bees if their master or mistress of the hives, someone important in the family, dies, or I think if there's some other marriage. So good to know that all of the Queen's bees have been notified, so they probably won't all die. Very kind of them. Let's move on to our next story. Canadian citizenship is in pandemonium because apparently, as part of a Canadian citizenship, you have to declare your allegiance to the Queen. and officials were confused about whom to swear allegiance to following the Queen Elizabeth II's death, which is probably understandable since she's been the queen for 70 years. Like, what do you even do? By the way, that's like most of the people on Earth have been born after Queen Elizabeth became queen. That's definitely something weird to think about. And I think that's one of the reasons why the queen felt so relevant, is because she's just been around for so long and around for so many milestones of history. And, in general, she's been around since the Second World War, and all the events in between. But I'm like, why does the new king have to be so old? Why can't they just choose a young person? And then they can be alive for a very long time, hopefully, and be culturally relevant. Yeah, there was a Canadian citizenship ceremony on Thursday of like 100 people. It had 141 attendees. And it was ongoing as the Queen announced her death. And they're like, well, that is very unfortunate. That you would think that would be like the easiest part of getting a citizenship. It's just like declaring your allegiance or whatever. And of course, there has to be pandemonium right as these people are declaring their allegiance. Let's move on to our next story, which is about Char. Char? Char. I know how to pronounce her name, Char, who tweeted about the Queen's death, offered her condolences, but had a little gaffe. This article starts, if Char could, she would turn back time and rewrite a tribute to the late Queen Elizabeth. Damn. Here's her tweet right here. I'll read it for you. Quote, am sad about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. Okay, I guess we're going to Twitter. All right. Am sad about the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. I had the honor of meeting her. I was in a long line of people waiting to meet her, yet when she got to me, she asked me pertinent questions and seemed genuinely interested in talking to me. I am proud she was a cow and happy she had a great sense of humor. I'm proud she was a cow? What probably happened is that she meant to do like the goat emoji, like greatest of all time. A cow? Someone just replied, a cow. Oh, poor Char. Sorry about that. There's also just like a ton of like brand Twitter accounts that are offering their condolences, which is super bizarre. It's like you don't need to say anything if you're a brand about the death of the Queen. No one expects you to say anything. You don't need to say anything. I could only think of like either bad or neutral things happening. Like the neutral thing that happens is that no one cares, and the bad thing is that you accidentally write something offensive. Like Char. It wouldn't be a Char tweet if there weren't some small detail that made you go, huh? All right, let's move on to our next portion of this video, which are fun facts about the Queen, which I am very excited about. A whole bunch of fun facts about the former Queen, because she died, Have some respect. I just want to highlight the interesting ones because I have a ton of fun facts. She owned over 30 corgis, kind of already talked about. This is interesting. The Queen didn't need a license to drive. The only person in the UK who does not need to have a driver's license in order to drive on public roads. Why? Why is that a thing? I would like, if I was the Queen, I would want a driver's license because they teach you how to. I mean, I guess it's not that hard. You can just like figure it out, but I don't know why we're willing to exempt the Queen on this specific issue. She volunteered as a truck driver during World War II, probably without a license, but still pretty cool. Truck driver and mechanic during World War II makes her the first female member of the Royal Military to serve in the military. What? The first female member. The first female member of the royal family to serve in the military. Okay, we got it on the third try. She carried out more than 21,000 engagements, including the opening of the Sydney Opera House. I don't know why I added that. Queen Elizabeth's 31 things she didn't know. She was a day drinker. That's the second fun fact on this website, the Sydney Morning Herald, is that the Queen was a day drinker. I'll read you what it says on this article. Quote, a regular tippler, Her Majesty liked gin with plenty of ice and a slice of fresh lemon before lunch. Then she will take wine with lunch and a dry martini and a glass of champagne in the evening, her cousin Margaret Rhodes said. The Queen made no secret of enjoying life. Quote, for me, heaven is likely to be a bit of a come down. Wow, damn. She didn't have a passport either, nor did she need one. Okay, so the Queen doesn't need a license or a passport, which, you know what? Now that I think about it, does she really need a license or a passport? Like, aren't you going to, like, if a cop pulls over the Queen, are they really going to give her a ticket? That would be incredible. Oh, here we go. This is interesting. In 2017, an anonymous driver dobbed in the Queen for not wearing a seatbelt while traveling to Westminster with Prince Charles, according to the BBC. Under UK law, the Queen could not be subjected to civil or criminal proceedings. The West Yorkshire Police Contact Centre tweeted about the incident the next morning. Quote, let's hope the Queen is behaving today. That's another thing. The Queen cannot be subjected to civil or criminal proceedings. That seems, can she just commit murder? And is everybody, has she killed? Okay, we're not going to get into that. The Queen, Elizabeth, didn't wear seatbelts. A royal member of the family not wearing a seatbelt, that's never ended tragically. The Queen woke up every day to a bagpipe playing outside her window for 15 minutes from 9 a.m. Okay. Now let's just talk about all the weird things the Queen owns, which is quite a fascinating topic. She owns London's Regent Street, I don't know how it's pronounced. One of the world's most famous roads. Well, I don't even know how it's pronounced, so great. Apparently, the Queen owns it, or she did own it, because she died. All of the swans on the River Thames. Why not? The Queen owns all of the swans, but only the swans that are on the open water. I don't understand this, but you know what? Fine. The Queen also owns all the dolphins in England and Wales. This comes from a statute from 1324 during King Edward II's reign that stated, quote, the king shall have whales and sturgeons taken in the sea or elsewhere within the realm. According to the time, the statute is still valid today and doesn't only cover whales and sturgeons. Dolphins and porpoises are also recognized as fishes royal. I think technically dolphins and porpoises are whales. So, isn't that why they're covered? She also owns all the sturgeons in the UK. It doesn't mention that. That's a pretty big deal. She owns a bat colony. I would say I don't know if she owns a bat colony. I would say more that she just has a bat infestation in one of her homes. Because it says the ballroom of her Scottish holiday home. It's also home to a group of pipistrelle bats, who nest in the rafters. According to The Sun, of a reliable news source, the Queen points them out to her staff so they can catch them with nets and release them into the wild. Millions of square feet of retail space. The Queen owns or partly owns multiple retail parks, shopping centers, and leisure properties, amounting to a staggering 7 million square feet of space. You're probably not going to rub shoulders with Her Majesty while you're there, though, especially nowadays. Yeah, here it says the Queen has two corgis. When one of her corgis mated with a Dachshund named Pipkin belonging to Princess Margaret, the Dorgie was created. So it really wasn't purposely created, the Dorgie. Remember when that was earlier? Okay. She owns a team of racehorses. Why not? Or she did own. Sorry. I'll stop doing that. What else? This is a different article. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that wasn't covered in the other one. She owns her own flag, which you can see here. And in fact, there is a Wikipedia article called The Flags of Elizabeth II, which I would like to go over now. She has a ton of different flags. Right. All right. So this is her queen. Here's Queen Elizabeth's flags as represented as her as the Queen of Sierra Leone, which was she still the Queen of Sierra Leone when she died? Yeah, they abolished it in 1971. But when Queen Elizabeth was the Queen of Sierra Leone, this was her flag, specifically representing her as the Queen of Sierra Leone. We have this flag representing Queen Elizabeth II, specifically Queen Elizabeth II, by the way, as the Queen of Canada. This is Queen Elizabeth II, the standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Australia. I'll just read what it says down there because it's less confusing. The standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of New Zealand, no E in this one, which is interesting. The standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Trinidad and Tobago, couple of ships, I guess, birds, fun. Standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Jamaica, which she was no longer a part of when she died, I don't think. Standard of Queen Elizabeth II, the Queen of Malta, again, another country she wasn't a part of, but this flag did exist at one point. This is the part I'm trying to make. Is this just the Malta flag, but they just put her seal on it? I mean, sure, why not? The standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Mauritius, which I don't think she was a part of when she died. That's like every flag. That's a cool flag, I guess. It's too much detail, probably. Because flags, one of the rules of the flags, right, that the flag snobs always talk about is that it can't have too much detail. All of these flags have a ton of detail and violate the design principles of the flag. Queen of Barbados, the standard of Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of Barbados, when she was the Queen of Barbados. And then this is just the personal flag of Queen Elizabeth II. And this would fly on any like building that she was staying at or any like ship that she was being carried on or plane. I think any plane would or any car that she was driving in would have this flag on it. Why not? Sure. Fun fact, Queen Elizabeth was related to the man she married. Her husband Philip and Queen Elizabeth were third cousins. Elizabeth was related to Queen Victoria on her father's side, and Philip was related to Queen Victoria on his mother's side. Philip was born into the royal families of Greece and Denmark, but renounced his original titles when he married Elizabeth. Is Prince Philip the creepy one? I can't remember. The Queen also doesn't have to pay taxes, but she did. She started paying income taxes in 1993 because people... I think she started paying them because there was some people that were upset, or there was growing resentment, of the royalty, following, there was like a fire in one of the estates, I think. I don't know what I'm talking about. I should probably stop talking because I'm going to get this all wrong. Oh, this is the last thing I want to talk about that's kind of interesting. She used her handbag to signal to her staff. She could imitate the sound of a Concorde jet landing. Okay, I don't want to be distracted. This video's gone on long enough. Anyways, I'm getting sidetracked. Let's just talk about her handbag, and then we can be done. Did Queen Elizabeth use secret signals to communicate with her staff? When the Queen shifts her bag from one hand to the next, it signals that she's ready to end her current conversation. If she places her bag on a table, her staff will know that the Queen is ready to leave an event in the next 5 minutes. And if the Queen starts to twist her wedding ring, immediate action is required. The twisting of the ring means she wishes to exit the conversation without delay. We sure wouldn't want to leave the Queen waiting, would you? You know what? I think that's a good place to stop.